Hey, it's Jim Hankins with Cloud Bedrock here to give you a quick demo on how to install the CribOps CLI on Mac, as well as get CribOps up and running. So once you've gone to cribops.com and selected one of the subscriptions that we have available, you'll receive in your email a license.txt file as an attachment. Save that license.txt file wherever you'd like. I've put mine in a directory called CribOps demo. The next thing you'll want to do is download one of our installers appropriate for your operating system. And then, in this case, this is a Mac. I'm going to go ahead and double click and install. Hit continue a couple times, read and agree to the license, hit install. When it does the installation, it will pop open a browser to our documentation page. Okay, so then you'll open up a terminal window, which I've already done, and you'll go to the directory where you've saved that file, and you will type CribOps CLI setup. What that's going to do is pull down some credentials and save secrets into a folder called secrets. And there's a bunch of hidden files in there. And then it also creates a Docker compose file. Okay, so in the Docker compose file, we include a Postgres database and CribOps. And currently in the Docker compose, we're using the latest tag, but we actually recommend once you get things up and running that you pin the version tag to something that's working for you, and then just check every so often for our updates and test. So in there, it's referencing all those secrets. And if you ever need to change the port, you'll need to change the port here as well as here. And then if you're also using like a reverse proxy and using a hosted name, you'll also need to change the host name and check origin so that you don't get errors on the web interface. So other than that, it's just a basic Docker compose file. We're just trying to make it a little easier for you to get started. So the next thing is doing a Docker compose up. And I usually, when I'm doing these demos, I do a pull always so that you get to look at what it looks like to download the image. And I'll speed this up. Okay, once it's downloaded and running, you will open a browser and go to port 4000. You'll see a screen very much like this. And you can say get started. And since you haven't registered already, you can either use the old school way of putting your name, email, and password in, or you could say continue passwordless and put your email in. It will send you a PIN code. And it'll prompt you for your name. And you'll be logged into the dashboard. Now the dashboard is kind of handy. It gives you an overview of all of your jobs as they're running and also provides you a means of replaying jobs that may have been discarded because N8N was down or wherever you happen to be sending these jobs. So the first kind of step is to go in and create a web endpoint. And all web endpoint is a connection between a public webhook that we're going to create on your behalf and the destination of where you want to send the result, which is, like an automation stack like N8N, either self-hosted, on-premise, or in the cloud, really any destination that you'd like. So you say, I would like to send it to N8N. And I am going to say, we'll say Docker 1 and hit create. So what that's done now is that's generated a public webhook, which you can now click on this button here, and then you have a copy of the webhook that you can now paste in whatever client it is that you need to send the request from. So I will go off screen here. Okay, I've sent one message. There we go. So now the message has come in, and you see a job that's been completed. You can look at the stats here, and this is where if you ever needed to, you could retry. Oftentimes you would only retry jobs that have been discarded, maybe for some reason, maybe your N8N was down or what have you. So that's there. So now let's try to do something a little more interesting and send a bunch of messages so that you get an idea of how this works. Okay, in this case, I'm going to take advantage of the open full screen so it's a little bit easier for you to see. The one job that we kicked off is showing up here in the N8N as an execution. And you can see I had a couple other tests prior to this. But what we're going to do now is attempt to generate a bunch of traffic using a little CLI tool called Hey. So I've basically cut and pasted the URL that was given to us by the webhook input creation. And I've put it into Hey, and I'm going to tell it to send a bunch of messages real quick for us. So this is 5,000 messages with 20 concurrent connections. And it will send those messages out. And then you can see already there are messages coming in. So basically what we do is we queue up the messages that are sent to your webhook for you. And that helps if the internet connection that you have between your N8N or whatever target you're sending it to happens to go out for a bit. We safely store that for you just long enough for you to be able to take time to consume it. We'll store it for up to 14 days on your behalf for you, encrypted at rest. So that's pretty much it. At this point, it is sending all of those requests to N8N. And as you can see, my job was pretty simple here. It's just sending to a wait state, all right? But you can see all those messages filling in. The important thing to realize is that we sent 5,000 messages, right? And those messages have already been consumed by CribOps locally and saved into a database. And then it's now sending the messages over to your N8N. So it's buffering basically for you in two places: out in the cloud, on your CribOps instance, wherever that happens to be running. And then that's safely then spoon feeding your N8N node so that you're not overwhelming it for the jobs. That's it. Hope this was helpful. Feel free to reach out to us at cribops.com.